The week was going very, very well in terms of predictions until it wasn't. Hey there, peeps! Detective Uwu here, and we're back with the predictions. Predictions this week. Bleh, if I can talk. Um, it was a pretty respectable week, I'd say overall. At least I finished with a winning record this week. Unlike some people who I've heard had not had the same success. So yeah, we went 9-6 overall this week. Pretty damn good. And then that just brings our total record to 58, 34, and 1. And, well, um, I still hate the tie. It messes with everything on my mind. But, anyways, um, but yeah, just a quick overview of what's been going up for this week's lottery numbers instead. No. um, if I could do that, I'd go and play the lottery myself. This was the big upset on Thursday. I started off the season 4-0 on Thursday night games, and these past 2 weeks there's been upsets. So yeah, not exactly great to start things off. Um, I got the London game correctly. That was an ugly game all around. I'm sorry to the people of Great Britain for having to witness that monstrosity of a game, which was very, very little offense. Um, the Colts got back on the right foot this week with a massive victory over the Cardinals, just escaping there. And for the Cardinals, you're now sitting 2 games behind the behind the rest of the NFC West for the division, and you're just wondering how legit is this team this year. Steelers took care of business against the Browns. Dallas was upset by Carolina, and I'm just wondering about these two teams because I am very, very confused on how they are these days. And maybe is Dallas really that great? I don't know. Their defense definitely holding them back so much. And as for the Panthers, they they've been starting to form a little bit of an offense. This is what we kind of saw last year. The Jags, after their massive win over the Chiefs, drop one at home to the Seahawks, which I probably should have seen that coming, considering they were on a massive high and made sense that they were probably going to take a step back this week. But still, you cannot be disappointed by the 4-2 start for the Jags. The Rams picked up a pretty ugly win over the Ravens. Not a whole lot of offense in that game either, but at least they got enough to really put a massive nail in the coffin for the Ravens. Um, the Chargers also kind of an ugly win over the Dolphins, but hey, you'll take a win in this league, especially now that they're still holding on to dear life for the top of the division. The Patriots took care of business in New Orleans. I'd said this would be a closer game than people expected, and voila, it was. It was a home game for the Saints, so for whatever reason, they play a lot better at home. So we'll see how things go. Um, Suck and they need a new owner. Yeah, the Jets are horrible this year. Uh, well, I don't know if Parsons would have been able to fix that defense on his own, neither. The Titans couldn't get it done against the Raiders, but good news for the Titans, your head coach got fired. So that opens the door to really hopefully turn this team around, whether it's this year or the next. And for the Raiders, you got to win. So you cannot be complaining much about that. The Bucks, man. I'll come back to the Buccaneers specifically, but the Niners lost Fred Warner for the year, so this really hurts on top of the loss. Green Bay also went up 10-0 against Joe Flacco again, but this time they managed to hold on to the lead. It wasn't as pretty as they had hoped, but hey, you'll take a victory whenever you can get it. The Chiefs, taking advantage of another injured defense a little bit, and picked up a nice 13-point win over the Lions, which is huge. Brings them back to 500, and now you're just wondering, are the Chiefs really back? They'll be proving it within the next few weeks before their bye. The Bills, they got down early and just could not get back on their feet quick enough to catch the Falcons. And the Falcons caught them sleeping. Are the Falcons really legit? I do not know. And finally, the last Monday night game, the Bears exorcised their demons from last year of that Hail Mary from Jaden Daniels. Daniels coughed up the ball on like a 3rd and 1 with like 3 minutes left in the game. Allowed the Bears to go down the field and kick the game winner. And Chicago just like I knew they were going to be better. I didn't think they'd be taking it by the horns this early. So, good for the Bears. I'm hoping that they'll do better this year for like any Illinois Bears fans' sake or whatnot, or any Chicagoans' sake. But yeah, because of all these upsets, the Monday night game, I was going into Monday night 9-4. I could have had a chance to go 11-4 this week, but both games didn't go my way. So we're sitting at 9-6, 58-34 overall. I will take that any day of the week. We got 15 games this week though to make predictions for. We got a couple of really interesting games, especially the primetime games this week. So we'll see how those go. But to kick things off, tomorrow night at 7:15 p.m. Central Standard Time, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers going to Cincinnati, Ohio to take on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Steelers took care of business against Cleveland. Nothing surprising there. There's not much to really say about the Steelers at this point. They're holding on with an iron grip on the AFC North right now, taking advantage of their 3 severely weaker opponents. And they'll be taking on one of them this week in the Bengals. The Bengals, first week with Joe Flacco, nothing too bad, but nothing great either. Still lacking a little bit of offensive performance. Got it going a little later, but it wasn't enough to catch Green Bay. And Flacco will finish the season against Green Bay 1-1. And and as we know, as I said earlier, started off the year 4-0 in Thursday night football games, picking them, and then the past 2 weeks have been full of upsets on Thursday night. So I would not be surprised if the Bengals pulled this one out of their asses and beat the Steelers on prime time. The Steelers, though, have every reason to be pretty much every reason to give me to pick them this week. They're the much better team. The Bengals still severely missing Joe Burrow, and you still think that the season's just completely gone down under for Cincinnati. However, as we've seen in the past, crazier things can happen, and I still do not know if the Steelers are that good or if they're just taking advantage of weaker teams in their division. So, I think I will go the upset route on this one. I think the Bengals do pull off the upset. I think the defense, if they can stop Aaron Rodgers and that offense rolling, I think the Bengals could take care of I think, weaker defense in the Steelers this year. And I think Flacco, he's getting now the week to adjust to the Cincinnati playbook. It is a better offense overall than the Browns was, so I would not be surprised if Joe Flacco performed a lot better this week. And if they pull off the upset, hey, this is the time where I jump on that upset train on Thursday night. Then we got another London game this week. It's an 8:30 a.m. clash for me. It's probably I want to say a 2 o'clock game, 2:30 game in London. I don't know. Time differences are weird. But you got the Los Angeles Rams sitting at 4-2, taking on the also 4-2 Jacksonville Jaguars. The Rams kind of had an ugly win against Baltimore. They got it. They got the job done, taking advantage of a severely demoralized Ravens squad, and I think they put themselves really in the driver's seat to really have a shot to take over the NFC West. And the Jags, after their big upset win over the Chiefs, they followed up with a severely poor offensive performance against the Seahawks, putting up only 12 in their loss to Seattle on Sunday. And I would still not be concerned about the Jaguars so far. They've still proven that they really could hang with these great teams. You just kind of you should have expected at this point that they drop one and such. But they get their fourth straight kind of really good matchup in a row. They've won 2 of the first 3, and I would not be surprised if they drop this one. The Rams, though, they got to go from Baltimore to London. It's a long flight for them. Jacksonville historically played in London pretty much every year. Hello, Zero. I see you in the chat. And Bendy as well. But anyways, the Jaguars, they're accustomed to playing in London every year. That's essentially how they do it nowadays. So, with that in mind, I am going to go Jacksonville here. I think they do need a good bounce back win this week, and I think they're going to get it in this game, especially since the Colts somehow have resurged life into themselves, and the Jags really do have a shot at taking the South, but they got to keep winning these games. And as for the Rams, they also need to win games to keep pace in the NFC West title race between them, the Seahawks, and the Niners. But we'll see how things go for these 2 teams. I would not be surprised if the Rams took this one as well. But I am going to go Jacksonville. I really do believe they are the real deal. But now we come to the noon slate on Sunday. Kicking things off on this slate, you got the New Orleans Saints taking on the Chicago Bears. The Saints putting up a fight against the Patriots. It was like 25-19 the final score. They usually play better at home for whatever reason. And now they got to go on the road to take on the Bears, which is usually where they play very worse. And for the Bears, unfortunately for the Saints, they have been red hot, going on a 3-game winning streak. So far, the latest edition of Bears theatrics was the Commanders game on Monday night, where they took advantage of a suddenly rainy game, and Jaden Daniels coughed up the ball on 3rd and 1. He threw it straight into his running back's stomach, and the Bears immediately pounced on it on defense. That allowed them to drive down the field and get a game winner. And suddenly, the pain of the Hail Mary from last year against this same Commanders team hurts a little less. But anyways, the Bears trying to keep their momentum going. The Saints trying to find anything that's like, maybe they'll make this game fun. But usually on the road, they're not as competitive as they are at home. And I am going to give it to the Bears for this one. They are red hot. They have every reason to have my pick this week. And if they lose to the Saints, there's going to be a lot of conversations. But I think Caleb Williams is finally getting settled into the Ben Johnson offensive system. And it's been paying off very well for the Chicago Bears so far. And they legitimately have a shot at catching Detroit and Green Bay for the tops in the NFC North. So we'll see how things go for them. Up next, we got the Miami Dolphins taking on the Cleveland Browns. Oh boy, the Dolphins, another heartbreaking loss for Miami, and they're now sitting at 1-5, and things have just not gone the Dolphins' way on any front. Their only win of the season, they lost Tyreek Hill, probably for most likely the rest of the year, with a completely snapped leg. and then every other game they've lost. So nothing has been going right for Miami this year. And as for the Browns, after that, they've only got one really, really damn lucky win against the Packers. Otherwise, they'd also be winless right now. Nothing really inspiring against the Steelers either. You kind of expected a little bit, but you didn't. A little bit of a sloppier game. But man, 8 points? Ugh, that's not that's not really gonna get you or your fans hyped for anything this year. It was 9 points. I'm sorry, but yeah. And at this point, I'm just saying, put in Shadir Sanders. Because why not? He looked great in the preseason. I know the preseason's different than the regular season. Everyone knows that. But at least give the kid a shot. I mean, Gabriel didn't have a bad game either, though. 29 for 52, 221 passing yards. A pretty solid game from Gabriel on the passing front. It's just that the offense on the rest of the offense could not help him to save his life. But anyways, this is a battle of essentially two really, really crippled and helpless teams right now. Who do I got winning this game? It's a 50-50. That's how ugly this game is, and how closely these two teams are to each other. I think I am gonna give it to the Browns though. They're playing at home. They probably are due for another win at some point, and yeah, I think the Browns take this one. The Dolphins just are demoralized. The Browns are just hoping to get anything together. They got a little bit of hope from Gabriel. I think the Browns do take this one. I think the defense for the Browns is also going to step up against that, against the injured Miami offense. So, give me the Browns in this one. And for the people that have to watch this game, I am so goddamn sorry. Up next, though, we got the New England Patriots taking on the Tennessee Titans. The Patriots, close game in New Orleans. I think I called that one last week. The Patriots, though, man, they look really, really good. I think Drake May is, in fact, the real deal. The Patriots just look so good on all fronts. And thanks to the Bills losing on Monday night, the Patriots are now in the driver's seat for the AFC East, which I don't think anyone would have expected that anytime soon, especially the way the Bills were playing in the first 4 weeks. So, the Patriots, who's their next victim? Probably the Titans. The Titans, they just fired their head coach. So, yeah, they may get the interim head coach boost, but against the Patriots, I don't really expect much from that. Plus, that offense is still horrendous. The defense may give the Drake May a little bit of trouble, but the offense is nowhere going to be near good enough to take down the Patriots this week. As much as I want the Titans to really get their act together, I got to give it to New England. They're on a roll right now. They're riding on a good high, and against the Titans, I think, while this has the potential to be a real letdown game for the Patriots, I do think they do have that in mind. They're not going to let this one slip. So I am going to go New England. And man, if we get New England, Indy, Pittsburgh, and LA in the top 4 seeds, this is going to be a wild January. But speaking of the AFC West, up next we got the I don't know how good of a game this is going to be. It's a divisional game. At noon local time, we got the carriers of the Black Plague in the Las Vegas Raiders of the 21st century taking on the team from the heart of America, the 4-time Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. The Raiders, they got a win. Good job for them. They got it against a really, really bad Titans team who just fired their head coach. So I'm not sure how much you can really say about that. At least Genty's starting to do a little more for them, which is what you're really hoping for this season. And as for the Chiefs, they may be back. The Chiefs taking care of the Lions 30 to 17. After getting no regular season games where they put up 30 or more points, they did it twice in the first 6 weeks. Both against what at the beginning of the season were projected to be Super Bowl contenders, which is a massive, massive swing of momentum for the Chiefs. And yeah, I did see the fight at the end of the season at the end of the game. It doesn't look like that Brown's gonna. Or was it Juju Smith-Schuster who was in the fight? I don't even know. All I know is Brian Branch got suspended, but I don't think there was any punishment for any of the Chiefs involved, which is good because now their offense can finally get into its full potential. Because guess who's back? Rashee Rice. Last game, his final game of his suspension. This is going to be his first game back with the squad. The offense is going to be in full gear now with all their weapons back now, and I have them winning this game. They're on a high. They just got even better with Rice coming back from suspension, and the Raiders just praying to God that this will be close. It is a divisional game. You never know what can truly happen, but all signs are pointing to the Chiefs taking this game, and I gotta go with what the signs are saying. So give me the Chiefs in this one, and I swear to God, if they lose this game, I'm not gonna be able to live this down. Oh God. But anyways, next up, we got the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Philly, what's up, Andrew? I don't know if you're not watching this. You're on a flight right now. But do you want to explain what's going on with the Eagles right now? Because, God, how do you lose to the Giants, who are without Malik Neighbors, by the way? Not only lose, you got blown the fuck out by the Giants, and now it may be panic time in Philadelphia, because that's 2 straight losses, and I think the offense is just starting to really fall apart a little bit, and it was the same situation last year too for the Eagles. I don't think you should panic quite yet. You still got a really damn good team, but you need to get your act together quick, otherwise you will start panicking. The Vikings, though, they just got off their bye. JJ is going to be probably coming back in this game. He's practiced this week with the healing from his ankle injury, and then on top of that, Carson Wentz had a shoulder injury in his last game. I don't know if he's practicing or not, but all signs are pointing to JJ getting the starting duties this game against the Eagles, and honestly, this could provide a very, very interesting scenario because Wentz did perform a little better than JJ in the time that in the time McCarthy was injured. You don't know how well McCarthy's going to be performing, and as much as I want to pick Minnie in this game, I am going to go with the Eagles. They desperately need a bounce back game. And I think they're going to get it here in Minnesota. I know it's in Minneapolis. It's a tough place to play. But I think the Eagles do get the W here that they so desperately need to hang on in the NFC East. And, yeah, if the Eagles lose this game, then all chaos will unfold in Philadelphia. Next up, though, you got the Carolina Panthers taking on the New York Jets. The Panthers, 2 straight wins now. Good for them. Bryce Young putting on a pretty damn good performance against the helpless Cowboys defense. And, yeah, well, the Panthers did what it took to beat the Cowboys. And they managed to get it done. Meanwhile, for the Jets, nothing is going right for them. Nothing is going right for them. How do you get negative passing yards in your game? What the actual fuck? Honestly, Any of you sitting at home, you have thrown more passing yards than the Jets did last week. Think about that for a second. Oh, Jets fans are going through a lot. Normally, I'd say this is definitely a letdown spot for Carolina, and the Jets are due for a win. But honestly, the Jets are so helpless right now, and the Carolina Panthers might have actually found a solid offense to perform around, that I have to go with Carolina here. The Jets are just completely hopeless. I have officially given up on them at least being sneaky in this year. And for the Panthers, it's gonna be crazy. They might actually go up to 500 in the middle of the season. That's crazy to think about. They have a better record than the frickin' what? The Cardinals, the oh my god. I mean, the Saints to be expected. The Cowboys. Oh my god. If they have a better record, they actually think they have. Do they have a better record than Washington? They may. And if they don't, they might this week. Because, oh my god. Carolina having a better record than the NFC runner ups. Whew. You're going to have to feel good about that as a Panthers fan. Speaking of the NFC East, though, next up, we start off with a 3:05 kickoff games. You got the New York Giants taking on the Denver Broncos. Whoo, baby, the Giants putting an ass kicking to the Eagles on Thursday Night Football. And what a statement win for the Giants. And are they going to be sneaky good this year? Because holy, even without Malik Neighbors, Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterboo, that offense is rolling. And they may actually be one of the sneaky good teams in this league that may miss the playoffs, but they're going to look good doing it. They're going to look really good. And man, if this team gets Malik Neighbors back sooner than they think, watch out. But they do have a very, very tall task in front of them. They got to go to Denver to take on one of the best defenses in the entire league. And that's no easy task. The Broncos, oh man, a very very poor offensive performance, but at least the defense held down the Jets to as much as they could. The Broncos, sitting at 4-2, they definitely have a chance to take hold of a AFC West lead this week, but they got to get through the Giants, which surprisingly, me saying that, being a bit of a taller order than people think, is surprising at this point of the year. The big matchup is going to be that Giants offense against the Broncos defense. And then the question is if the Broncos offense can pull through somehow. Because the Giants D isn't that great. But the Broncos have been seriously inconsistent on offense. I don't know what to really say about that. I almost want to pick Denver. In this game. Because they're at home, they got the defense on their side, and yeah. But I'm going upset here. I'm going Giants. Denver's defense has proven they can collapse. They have absolutely proven that. Plus, the Giants are riding a bit of a high. I think it does continue this week. And the Broncos just did not look great at all in their London game. So, hopefully things will be better for the Broncos this week. And if you're from Denver or a fan of the Broncos, but something's telling me New York's going to make it 2 weeks in a row where they pull off the upset. And well, that'll just help out my Chiefs. So, I'm rooting for the Giants. I'm also rooting for the Colts this week as they take on the LA Chargers. The Indianapolis Colts still looking really damn good. They did let the Cardinals into it, but hey, you pulled off the victory at the end of the day. And tell me, if any of you would have ever expected Daniel Jones to take the Indianapolis freaking Colts to be in a position as the number one team in the AFC 6 weeks into the season. If any of you told me that you expected that, you are flat out lying because no one expected that this year. They are going to be taking on an LA Chargers team that proves that they aren't completely helpless when they have a couple of injuries. They managed to get some things going for them on offense, which was huge in their game against the Dolphins and escaping with a win there. But the defense did show signs of cracks, which is not good at all. And you just wonder, especially with the red hot Daniel Jones led offense coming into town, especially with Jonathan Taylor as well being a threat again. You just wonder, is that Chargers defense really going to make the improvements over the week and truly come into their true form? Otherwise, the Chargers are in absolute trouble. I think this is going to be a really high scoring game. It's going to be one of those games where you're really going to want to watch to the end. And I am going to go with the Indianapolis Colts this week. They have been on a high this year. The Chargers still dealing with a little bit of injuries. It's going to be a pretty damn close, high-scoring game. But I think the Colts do get it done. They move to 6-1, especially with the Jaguars pursuing them. I think the Colts get the dub here. And, man, 6-1. Colts fans, if I had told you would have been 6-1 at this point, you guys would have been in tears. After Sunday, that could be a very, very real possibility. Next up, though, we got 3:25 games in the afternoon. Starting off with, you got the Washington Commanders taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Both of these teams taking really, really, really heartbreaking losses. The Commanders lost on a turnover that resulted in a game-winning field goal for the Bears on Monday night. As for the Cowboys, they also suffered from a game-winning field goal but from the Panthers of all teams. I of course picked the wrong week to say Dallas would have a letdown game, but man, the Cowboys' offense is horrendous, but the defense is horrendous, but the offense is so good, and is even without CeeDee Lamb. And it's crazy. The Dallas could easily be a sneaky playoff contender right now. But because of that defense, and no, Michael Parsons would not help that defense whatsoever. The Cowboys are sitting here at 2-3-1. And you just it's really disappointing to see that for Cowboys fans, but honestly, if you're any of the other 31 and other fan bases, you're just enjoying every single moment of this. They're going to be taking on the Washington Commanders. Obviously, they lost last week. They're sitting at 3-3. They're kind of right now in a bit of a pickle. They have not looked that great so far. Like, we expected a bit of a regression. I don't think they would have been on the verge of going under 500 at this point. But yeah, it's definitely a regression nonetheless. It is going to be played in Dallas. Dallas, for whatever reason, has played a lot better at home. They won and tied the only two games they played there so far. And they've lost the other 3 games. They've lost their 3 games on the road. And they took additional game on the road, but that was against New York, so that doesn't really count. But the Commanders, I think, are going to be playing desperation mode this week. They need to get back on track to keep up with Philly in the NFC East race, and Dallas is trying to find anything to keep momentum going their way. I think I am going to go. It's a tight call, but I am going to go Dallas this week. I think the Cowboys, after a letdown game against the Panthers, are going to come back, take a game against Washington where they probably shouldn't, and they're going to surprise a bunch of people. I still think that offense is truly legit. But the question is that defense really going to hold Washington down that much? Because this is going to be a high-scoring game. Extremely high-scoring. But I think the offense for Dallas is a little too much right now for the Commanders. And being played in AT&T Stadium, I think the Cowboys do walk away with this one. It's going to be very ugly for the Cowboys and probably a lot of heart attacks to be given to the fans, but they're going to pull away with this one. Going to the other 325 game though, we got the Green Bay Packers taking on the Arizona Cardinals. The Packers, they won. Yay. They did not look good doing it though. They needed a couple of things to go their way, including I think it was a missed field goal that essentially sealed it. They got a 9-point victory against the Bengals, led by Joe Flacco. Thank Christ, because I would have made fun of you so much for losing to Joe Flacco 2 times in 3 weeks. But the Packers got it, or in 4 weeks. But the Packers got it done. They're going to be taking on the Arizona Cardinals now, who are probably in desperation mode. They are sitting 2 games back of the other 3 NFC West teams. And they have not looked very good. After taking their first 2 games and winning them, they have dropped 4 straight, including a couple of heartbreakers and some games they probably should not have lost. And it's going to be a very, very interesting week for the Cardinals this week. Because if you lose this game, I think all hope is lost for this team. If you win, though, everything's on the table again. So this game's going to be really important for the Cardinals. And for the Packers, despite sitting at 3-1-1 with an ugly couple of wins these past few weeks, after their lifetime ago start with that dominant 2-0 thrashings of the Lions and Commanders, they're still in the second. They're still a second seed in the entire conference. So, do what you want with that. But they really need to get this get-right game going for them. I don't think they are. I think they are going to get the win here, but it's not going to be pretty. And for the Cardinals, there's going to be another heartbreaker. And at this point, I just wonder, how long are they going to keep the head coach? How long are they going to keep starting Kyler Murray? It's just going to be a ton of questions after this week for the Cardinals. Next up, though, we got the Sunday Night Football game. You got the Atlanta Falcons taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Whoo, man, Atlanta, are you for real? The Falcons holding on to a built lead against the Bills and taking it on Monday Night Football. The Falcons have looked actually really damn decent. Ignore the Panthers game. I'm just thinking of that Homer Simpson meme where it's like, he looks all jacked, and then behind him is tied up his fat. And that fat for the Falcons is the Panthers game. But outside of that, they're actually not far off from the Bucs for the title race in the South. But you just wonder how long they're going to keep this up, because some weeks they'll look really, really damn good, like Super Bowl contenders. Other weeks they'll look like just should be drafting number 1 in the draft. So, do what you want with the Falcons. The 49ers, though, they look they still looked pretty damn good even with all their injuries, but the Fred Warner out for the year injury might be the final dagger. Just because I don't know how long the 49ers are going to be able to keep this up. They're the first victim for the Buccaneers where they didn't really have to win in dramatic fashion, and the Niners, I don't think it's going to be any better for them. Injuries are really, really hurting this team this year, and I think it's going to show this week. I am going to give it to the Falcons. I think Penix is going to look better as the year goes on, and it's going to really start up here. And if the Niners can win this game, look out, because they could probably do anything, and Kyle Shanahan should be considered for Coach of the Year honors. But Atlanta looks too good right now. And no matter how this roller coaster of a Falcons team goes, I'm going to pick them to win this game. And this week we got 2 Monday night games, starting off with a 6 p.m. game. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Detroit Lions. Can I just say this right now? I want to declare that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the best team in the National Football League. Hands down. They have looked good on all fronts. And no matter what injuries, like to their receivers and tight ends, they have just still looked dominant. And Baker Mayfield should be absolutely considered for MVP honors right now. Because holy shit, he is having a career year this year. And the Bucks has significantly improved. I did not think, I said they were going to be good and they're going to be a lot better. I did not think they were going to be this good. The Bucks, oh my god, this might be one of my yes, I hit on this prediction, but it went way farther than I thought it was going to go. So wow, props to the Bucks. They easily should be considered the best team in this league. And the Detroit Lions, they really need a bounce back game. Brian Branch, though, is suspended for this game at the very least. So that's going to really, really hurt things against the Baker Mayfield-led offense. But also the defense still taking a couple of injuries. Outside of that, they looked fine with Branch, but I'm not sure how that defense is going to hold up this week. As much as Detroit really, really needs a bounce back game. And I don't think they get it. I think the Bucks are just that damn good. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay in this game. I would not be surprised if the Lions somehow pulled a win out of their ass, took this game, but I am a full believer on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They could easily be the representatives of the NFC in the Super Bowl. Finally, at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh my god. You got the Houston Texans taking on the Seattle Seahawks. The Texans. They had the bye this week. So maybe they can get their shit together. Their offensive line's still horrendous. But maybe they'll get something going. They're on a 2-game winning streak right now. Granted, it was against the Titans and Ravens, which the Titans are god-awful all around, and the Ravens have been completely demoralized, especially with their defense just going down and Jackson being out. So I don't know I don't know how back the Texans are. As for the Seahawks, great win, massive win over the Jags in Duval, and I'm gonna declare it now. Seahawks, you proved me wrong. I take the L on this one. You guys are actually legit, and I think it's gonna continue in this game. Especially with that defense just having their way with the Texans O-line. The Texans defense isn't going to be bad. I don't think the Seahawks are going to put up as many points as people think. But the Seahawks, though, are still going to come out with this one, taking it. And after this week, if my predictions go the way that I think they are, the Seahawks are going to be in first place in the NFC West. Whew, I would not have said that at the beginning of the year. And as I said, it was going to be, I'd say about mid. I'm going to go about, what's a good? I'll go 45 points. I think it's going to be a little bit of a slower game this week on offense. So, we'll see how things go, though. But yes, that's going to be it for my predictions, though, this week. Which means it's about that time to end the stream. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe to share the channel around. It helps me grow. I plan on doing a 3 stream weekend though. I planned something for Sunday, but Friday VR chat for like the first time in like months. Saturday Cards Against Humanity. I was supposed to get that out last week, but everyone was busy and I didn't really apologize for that. And yeah. For Saturday's stream though, I have a surprise for all platforms. That's your only hint. But until then, hopefully this week will be better and Monday night does not screw me out this week. So, with that being said, see you later, peeps. Thanks for watching. And go Chiefs.